Well, I want to take a look today at Marvel's Avengers again. And I think I've operated from a fairly unique standpoint in this community. As someone who, believe it or not, I actually enjoy this game casually. I still go back to it sometimes. But I also don't defend it of its many, many flaws. A lot of people are on one side or the other here where they are very, very invested in defending this game or absolutely hating it and disregarding anything that it does. I don't think either of those is the most valid. I do think that Avengers does deserve a little credit here, and I have some questions for you as well that I'm just interested in getting your opinion on. You're probably going to hear me clicking around. I am on comicbook.com for a lot of this stuff. I will include the links in the description down below because Marvel's Avengers did have a bit of an update last week, and when I say that, I don't really mean an update. I should probably clarify what I mean by this. Marvel's Avengers, they did have the earnings call. They did talk about this as well and get into just how badly this game did actually compared to what they wanted it to do. Now, we've seen a lot of numbers that this game has hemorrhaged over 95% of its player base on PC. It's actually down to about 2 to 3% of its peak concurrent player base at a lot of times. So this is doing pretty bad over there. However, we don't have fully solid numbers on the console versions of the game. So we don't fully know if that version is doing better or not. It is worth noting that a lot of the times console gamers seem to keep playing games a little more than PC gamers. PC gamers are very quick to jump from thing to thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's just so many options and so many PC builds and so many different people, and it's very easy for them to do so on PC as well. Just look at something like Battlefield. Those games die pretty quick there too, compared to a lot of the Battlefield games on console. But again, it varies community to community. Now, if you're interested in watching a playthrough of this game, I will say very briefly, I did do a full playthrough of the campaign over on my Let's Play channel, which is in the description below. And this game does have its fair share of issues that led to this problem that they have had. They did go on to say in the presentation that they gave that the HD Games subsegment posted an operating loss as initial sales of Marvel's Avengers were lower than we expected and unable to completely offset the amortization, sorry I'm saying these words wrong, of the game's development costs. In the second half of the fiscal year, we hope to make up for initial sales by offering ample additional content to grow our sales. They did also go on to say that there were factors initiated with the problems as well. They said that they undertook a massive advertising campaign at the time of its launch to make up for delays in marketing due to the pandemic and blah, 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 blah. They go on to say that they want to get more people and that there were aspects of the game that were lacking. They intend to leverage the lessons that they learned from this experience in future game development efforts. Again, I like this game. I can have a good time on it, but there are a lot of flaws with this game that have nothing to do with the marketing. They have nothing to do with how the characters look. I would even argue to some extent they don't even have to do with the microtransactions, believe it or not. They have to do with a grindy progression system. They have to do with a worse version of Destiny's light grinding level system, which has now transitioned over to power leveling, which has been reworked several times, by the way. And that is what this game really needs, I think, to be fully salvaged for players. Now, there's going to be people that are extremely stubborn on anything, right? Absolutely. They're going to die on that hill and love it regardless of its faults, or they're going to give it zero credit. We have that with everything. I don't think those are a majority of people. I think a lot of us on really anything sort of land in the middle. If a game comes out and it's bad or has a lot of problems, if it improves later on and we have the money, a lot of us will play it. That's just how it works. A lot of us are not rushing from thing to thing very quickly trying to get the next fix of the newest game and then move on. There's a lot of us that are like, hey, if No Man's Sky improved after 2 years and it's great now, I'll play No Man's Sky. I'm totally fine with that. And that's the problem that I'm actually seeing with this game, is that they haven't talked at all really about reworking progression or reworking any of these key things in order to actually make the quality of the game better. when it comes down to it, when you're playing Marvel's Avengers, the post game really just hits as, hey, I have this character. It doesn't matter who it is. I'm going to go on the same missions over and over and over again, and I'm going to hope to complete bounties, which are little side objectives. I'm going to hope to find treasure chests that have gear in them that's a little better, and then I'm going to slowly grind resources and complete challenges in order to be able to level that gear up so that I can hit max level and move on to a different character. The problem is there's not a lot of incentive to do that. There's not a varied enough amount of missions to really get you to want to progress that far. And if you go on to try and find other players and basically play through co-op and all this stuff, my experience on the PlayStation 4 is that there's actually not that many players. If I go to a given mission, any given mission post-game, it takes a few minutes to find anybody. It's not really like, oh, hey, look, it's a snappy, we're always finding people. You can hop into Destiny 1 on PS4, and there's still players in strikes or in really multiplayer or any activity you want to go to, and that game is years old at this point. Marvel's Avengers is a few months old, and you struggle to find other players to play with. This game entered a community that is very used to a specific type of game. I'm going to say that about myself. I'm going to say that probably about you, and you can correct me if you think I'm wrong in the comments down below. The superhero community, in a way, which is not this channel specifically. I deal with a lot of other stuff that's not even superheroes, but a lot of you are here. Here's what we are used to getting. We are used to getting a single-player focused superhero game, sometimes with co-op available, like in LEGO games, that give you all the content for whatever price you pay. If you want additional content, you pay for the season pass. You get what you want. You play the game. You miss out on whatever you want. If you don't want to pay for the, Flashpoint Batman or something like that, whatever, you don't get that. Wash, rinse, repeat, move on. The game has the same staying power in 5 years. It is not a games as a service. We are used to this, and most of us would argue this is superior game design to games as a service. However, I don't think that being games as a service is really what ruined this. And I know people are going to disagree with me, but I really don't think it is. I think what ruined this is being a lazy games as a service in some ways that copied the worst aspects of Destiny along with a few of the better ones, tried to jam them all together into sort of a mishmash, salad, and then serve it up to players. And I don't think players were happy with that. At launch, there were these skins that were over $15 a piece, which were insane cosmetic prices to have to pay for. Yes, it doesn't affect the gameplay, but it's very frustrating to see this content in this game you paid for locked behind such massive paywalls. And I think they could have even gotten away with that. I mean, you see a lot of skins in the Arkham games were charged for, really, and yes, Marvel Spider-Man gave away a lot of them for free, but there were also ones locked behind the City That Never Sleeps expansion that you had to pay for as well in order to get those. I don't think that asking for more money is the problem. I don't think that even the games as a service is a problem, but this game needs a rework. And when we look at this, when we look at their response to it, that they're going to basically fix the sales by adding more characters, here's my problem with this. Now, can you say I'm part of the problem because I own the game and because I'll probably play through a lot of these characters on my Let's Play channel? Sure. Was that a bit of a shameless plug? 100%. But hey, it's my channel, so you know what you signed up for. We're not top tier here. But I think that you can have some dumb fun on this game, and you can enjoy the progression system a little bit if you're, listening to a podcast or doing something in the background or just kind of playing something relaxing. This is a sort of relaxing, hey, do you want to play as Kate Bishop? Okay, there's not many games where you can here now. Those are good incentives to get people to play your game. I agree with that. But if they enter your game knowing that the progression system is flawed, knowing that there's going to be a ton of cosmetic content locked behind price barriers that they're not willing to pay to knock down because they're too high, and they know that they will keep playing these characters and essentially doing the same thing over and over again without it changing much, I think that that's where you're going to have problems. I don't think that that's really going to increase sales nearly as much as they think. And I guess that's kind of what I'm getting down to. I did want to go into this and add more to it than just the Kate Bishop thing of can Kate Bishop save the game? But I really do want to ask, can any amount of playable characters save this game for you? What do you want to see about this game? I actually do have game developers that watch this channel. And I'm not saying that I'm some brilliant, guru here who knows the ins and outs of game design, but I've been playing games for over 20 years. I am not an expert, but I know what I find fun and what I don't, and I do understand the basics of game design. And I want to ask you watching this, what are your thoughts on this game design? What are your thoughts on this marketing idea? Do you think that throwing characters at this game will help it? Because I'm genuinely curious, and it frustrates me a little bit to see the bones of a really good game in Marvel's Avengers, which a lot of people are going to disagree with, but I think it has the bones and inner structure of a fantastic superhero game, and it could have really been not something that I'd want to see just copied over and over again, because I don't want to see the single player design thrown out, but it could have been an interesting template going forward to maybe every 5 years or something we get a more team-based games as a servicey superhero game that could have been really great. But instead of that, it seems like this encapsulated the worst version of some of those ideas, while to me still being fun. So what do you think about this? What are your thoughts on their ideas to add in new characters? Who else would you want to see? So far, the ones that we really have confirmed, other than Kate Bishop, are normal old Hawkeye. And I believe Maestro Hulk is going to be coming in Hawkeye's War Table event, or I'm sorry, Hawkeye's expansion. And these are supposedly going to be free. So do you think that this free content, even though you don't have to pay for it, is going to help the game? Would you buy it? Would you play it? Would you engage with it? Or what would you want to see? Because I really do think this needs a rework. I wish that they would buckle down and do that. I can't think of a single game that did that and didn't benefit in some way from it. And it's too bad to me that we're not seeing that, at least yet. So, hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Very interested. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this. Dislike it if you dislike it. As always, I do appreciate either. The interaction helps. Hey, even if you just comment down below what your favorite sandwich is, it helps my channel reach recommended. So I really do appreciate all of you. I hope you have a fantastic day. And as always, everybody, stay shway.